Good evening. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the launch of the public phase of the campaign for Sarah Lawrence, and exhilarating to see so many alumni, loyal friends, and generous donors gathered here tonight. I realize I'm shorter than Holly Robinson Peete, so this is going down. Looking out at you, I'm reminded of Oscar Wilde's observation: you can never be overdressed or overeducated. I'm also reminded of the observation that the best form of education ever invented was Plato sitting on one end of a log, talking with Aristotle sitting on the other, and that Sarah Lawrence comes closest of any place we know to preserving that form of education, to maintaining its intimacy, its willingness to explore every possibility, and its profound commitment to the liberal arts. I want to make 2 points that only seem to be contradictory. First, as this country's most famous provider of a progressive education, Sarah Lawrence remains true to itself by continually reinventing itself. And second, we're in the business of conserving something that is fragile and periodically endangered. Your generosity, your loyalty, and your friendship let us do both, and for that we are deeply grateful. Because of you, we remain the bold college we have always been, not a follower of trends, but a confident leader that is ahead of the curve. We're here tonight to kick off what promises to be the most important fundraising campaign in the history of Sarah Lawrence College, and I mean that. It's a tall order, but I harbor no doubts that together we will meet the challenge. Our purpose this evening is to make the case for your continued support and demonstrate that an investment in Sarah Lawrence will pay meaningful dividends for our remarkable students and incomparable faculty now and into the future. So I'd like to read a short passage from the Middle States Association Accreditation Report, not what you would think would be scintillating reading, but here it is. Sarah Lawrence College is a distinctive and noble institution of higher learning. It is built around a model of teaching centered on the growth of the student while encouraging lifetime learning for faculty as well. It sets a standard of excellence. That Sarah Lawrence College thrives in the future is vital not merely for a generation of students, but for all American education, unquote. That passage was written in 1997, nearly 2 decades ago, but it could just as easily have been written today. With your support, it will again be written in 2 decades and even 10 decades. That's really why we're all here tonight, to make sure that Sarah Lawrence remains that distinctive and noble institution of higher learning. Our founders, influenced by the philosopher John Dewey, believe that students learn about the world by experiencing that world. And they believed the central goal of education was to make it one's own. Education is not preparation for life, Dewey said. Education is life itself. These ideas represented a radical new model for higher education in 1926. And if you look hard at most higher education today, you'll realize it remains a radical and brave model today. Those visionaries sought to combine an unprecedented degree of interaction between teacher and student with the highest degree of intellectual independence. Their beliefs have guided the college ever since. The vision has enabled Sarah Lawrence to graduate 5 generations of originals, intellectually adventurous and creative young people who have had an outsized influence in just about every imaginable field. Current attacks on higher education imply or state outright that the liberal arts, freely and passionately pursued, are either a luxury we can no longer afford or the dilettante's path to obscurity. Well, a not-so-obscure Sarah Lawrence graduate presides as mayor of Chicago. A second directs the 9/11 Memorial Museum in Lower Manhattan. And another transformed what was once the world's largest landfill into a New York City public park. A Sarah Lawrence graduate directs the pediatric bone marrow stem cell transplant program at a major university medical center. Another, a pioneering AIDS researcher, directed the first infectious disease center in China. A Sarah Lawrence graduate is the chief curator of the Smithsonian Institution's soon-to-be-opened National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. And another is one of the most prominent fashion designers in the world. An alumna served as Poet Laureate of the United States, yet another chaired the National Endowment of the Arts. Sarah Lawrence graduates have written, directed, produced, and acted in award-winning films and plays. Sarah Lawrence graduates have earned Emmys, Bessies, Obies, and Albert Awards, and Pulitzer Prizes and MacArthur Foundation Genius Grants. Sarah Lawrence graduates have served the sick and the homeless, and they have served in the most august corridors of power. And yet another Sarah Lawrence graduate who long ago became the first female co-anchor of a television network evening news program is one of the giants of American broadcast journalism. And I have the pleasure of looking out at a number of Sarah Lawrence alumni who are also faculty at Sarah Lawrence, passing on the fruits of their own education to generations of students and future alumni. In fact, all Sarah Lawrence faculty have educated all our students to understand that the answers will change, but the ability to ask the right questions will last a lifetime. So you don't need to be on this list of notable careers for us to be extremely proud of you and what you do. As a Sarah Lawrence alumna once said to me, Sarah Lawrence graduates create things in spaces where they didn't exist before. We gather here tonight to take action that will provide Sarah Lawrence students with scholarships, internships, and most of all, with the opportunity to learn and explore. To take action that supports our incredible faculty who have shaped and guided our students' academic, intellectual, and professional lives. To take action to secure the very future of Sarah Lawrence College. The campaign for Sarah Lawrence will focus on 5 important areas of investment. It will attract and support curious and motivated students of the kind you've seen tonight. It will show them how their abilities can lead to meaningful lives of work and service after their glorious time at Sarah Lawrence. It will advance academic initiatives and enhance support of our incredible faculty. It will build community by creating a vibrant living and learning environment. And it will support progress every year through your annual gifts to the Fund for Sarah Lawrence. So we've laid out a long-range vision in the campaign for Sarah Lawrence. And as we begin the work ahead, let's recall Confucius's observation. If you think in terms of a year, plant a seed. If in terms of 10 years, plant trees. If in terms of 100 years, teach the people. On behalf of those who teach, work, and learn at Sarah Lawrence, I thank you all for your generosity, which will ensure that your college remains that distinctive and noble institution of higher learning today, tomorrow, and for at least the next 100 years. Thank you.